So you're selling your house, you've received an offer, accepted that offer, both parties have signed all the documentation, now you are officially under contract. Woohoo! Congratulations! But now what? In this video, I'll explain the whole process from the signed contract all the way to closing day, so stick around. So let me start by saying that I live and work in the great state of Tennessee, and every state has different requirements. So if you are looking to buy or sell in a different state, please contact me and I would love the opportunity to connect you with a realtor in your state. In Tennessee, however, the process to close on a house takes about 30 days if your buyer is financing. And it can be a little bit more or a little bit less depending on the lender and the loan program. If your buyer is paying cash, however, you can close easily in less than 2 weeks. Let me explain quickly what a day is in our contracts. So when the buyer and seller have both signed the documentation, one of their realtors will also sign to acknowledge receipt of all of the signatures. Once all signatures are in place, that's day 0. The following day will be day 1, and many of the deadlines moving forward from contract to close will be based on which day you are on. And hopefully that'll make a little bit more sense as we go. Let me take a quick second and just describe briefly all the players that are involved in this transaction before we move forward. Of course, there's the buyer and the seller, and both buyer and seller are represented by realtors. There is a lender, there is a title company, there is a home inspector, a termite inspector, and the appraiser. And these are just the bare minimum. There could be other people involved as well, depending on each transaction, because they are all different. All of the people involved in the transaction share a common goal, and that is to get your house sold. All right, so here we go. What happens first? By day 3, the buyer needs to make full application for his or her loan with that lender. The offer that you've accepted hopefully was from a pre-qualified buyer, meaning when they submitted an offer to you, they also submitted a pre-qualification letter from the lender. So buyers, what does that mean for you? That a seller will not take your offer seriously if you are not pre-qualified. So let me speak to the buyers for just 1 second. The best first thing that you can do before you even start looking at houses is to get pre-qualified. And I do have a list of preferred lenders that I have used and have seen work beautifully with my clients in the past. And I'd be happy to share those names and numbers with you if you just want to reach out to me. My contact information will be below. The next thing that needs to happen is the buyer turns in the earnest money to the title company. So in the contracts that I write, I allow that to happen by day 7. Sometimes buyers are out of town, sometimes it falls on the weekend, so I always allow 7 days, but that could vary in your contract depending on how your realtor has written that in, so be careful, don't miss your deadlines. The title company will document the day that they have received your earnest money, and they are going to send that by email to the buyer's agent. As the seller's agent, I am checking with that agent by day 7 to make sure that no deadlines have been missed. So hear me well, don't miss your deadlines. So as you can see, the beginning days after you are under contract are a little bit hectic. The buyer's making full application for the loan, the buyer's turning in the earnest money to the title company. At the same time, you are in what is called the inspection period. And the buyer's agent can decide how long that inspection period should last, usually 10 to 14 days. And what happens during that time is a scheduled home inspection. The important thing for the seller to know about the home inspection is that you need to make sure that there is clear access to every system, because the inspector will be coming through your house and checking the plumbing, electrical, mechanical, and structural aspects of your house. And you want to make sure that the inspector has the full access to all of those systems. When the buyer has satisfied all the inspections that they want to have done during the inspection period, you move into what is called the resolution period. And that usually lasts anywhere from 5 to 7 days, again, depending on how the buyer's agent has written that into the contract. The transition into the resolution period begins when the buyer presents the seller with what we call a repair or replacement proposal. During the resolution period, the buyer has 3 options. They can accept the property as is, they can request the seller to repair or replace items that were found in their inspection, or they can terminate the contract. Should the buyer request a replacement or a repair from the seller, with the help of their realtors, the buyer and seller at this point negotiate which repairs or replacements will be performed. By day 14, the buyer needs to provide proof of insurance that will take effect on the day of closing. It's up to the lender and the buyer as to exactly when they choose to order the appraisal. Some lenders choose to wait until the inspection period is over, just to make sure that the contract is going to carry on, and some order it right away. So that's up to the buyer and the lender together to make that. One common question that we hear a lot is what happens if the appraisal comes back lower than the contract price of the house? So you have a few choices at this point. The buyer can increase the purchase price, the seller can decrease the purchase price, or they can meet somewhere in the middle, which is what usually happens. All the while during this time, the sellers are packing, and there's one more item that takes place before closing, and it is the final walkthrough. So the day before closing or the day of closing, the buyer and the buyer's agent do one final walkthrough of the property just to make sure that everything is as it should be. No one wants any surprises on the day of closing. As you can see, there are so many things that are happening from the time you get under contract to the time that you close on your house. And it is critical that the lender, the title company, the agents, the buyer, the seller, the inspector, that they are all communicating so well with one another. Time is of the essence. And everyone's goal is to move you to closing. As a matter of fact, I have a 46-point checklist that I and my team use as we count you down to closing. If you have any questions about the process of moving from a signed contract to closing day, don't hesitate to reach out and give me a call. I'd love to answer any questions that you have. My contact information is down below. Check it out, and I'll see you soon. If you missed my first video, go back and take a look where I described 7 tips to selling your house. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you click on that bell, you'll be notified when I post new videos. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you soon.